Hi, I'm Patty Ann Weinkoff, and I'd like to introduce myself to the class regarding my past, my present, my future. I believe that you can tell a lot about a person, their identity, and what they're about by the focus in their life. And for most of my life, my focus was my career. I grew up in a very work ethics oriented family. My father was blue collar, and I watched him go from being a foreman for a construction crew. He worked his way up. He was a self made man. I saw him become an executive. He was vice president. He was vice president of operations, planning and development. I was very proud of him. I followed in his footsteps very strongly. By the time I was 12, 13 years old, I was babysitting regularly enough that I paid for the extras in my life. My used books, a lot of used books, makeup and jewelry, and going to the mall with friends. And I was very accustomed to paying for anything that I really valued and wanted. That was how we were taught. We paid it. We took care of ourselves. But when I went to my 20s, I was in the hospitality industry, and I tried other jobs and landed in the hotel business. It was a perfect fit for me. I believe they paid me to talk to customers, to staff members. My 20s was all about the hotel industry. I worked around a lot. I was able to travel a lot. Um, my first objects are a little pewter, San Francisco, and a St. Louis, the Arch in St. Louis, places I lived or traveled. I love to travel. I was always gone. My apartment was always in boxes. I never completely unpacked. I was either working or I was traveling, and I loved it. That was my whole life. Every salary increase, every job title increase was how I viewed or measured rather the success in my life. How well I was doing in the hotel business was how well I was doing in life, and really didn't expect anything different until I got married. And after being married for about 2 years and continuing to work, I was the general manager of a Fairfield Inn by Marriott, which is a small property in Topeka. But I was married and going nowhere as far as locale went. So I worked my way up again in this town to the GM's position. And then I found out I was pregnant. Huge surprise. I had always been led to believe medically that I would never be a biological mother. And my husband had his own son and stepkids from a previous relationship. And I was content with that. Still working, being a part-time kind of a stepmom and wife. And when I found out I was pregnant and then had Olivia, situations changed, and I was all of a sudden a stay-at-home mom and responsible for two, sometimes three and four kids at a time. And it was really new for me. Everything in my life prior to had been, my focus had been on my career and advancement and how am I being successful and how does it reflect in my life. And all of a sudden I'm changing diapers and reading stories and doing laundry and 24/7. And it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about little kids who were depending on me and a husband who expected me to keep things going at home and make sure that he had what he needed to go out to work every day to provide for us. And in the matter of 2 years, I was completely re-identifying myself. And I was learning that to re-identify myself meant changing how I viewed success. I went from traveling to San Francisco and living in St. Louis and traveling to Seattle to diapers and Winnie the Pooh, which is my next object. I've had this Winnie the Pooh since my little one was born, and it's always on my dresser, and kind of as a reminder to me that you can't predict life changing. You can just roll with it. And I was really content. I learned to give. I learned that life was not about me, that it was about the other people in my life. And the more I gave to them, the more people I ended up giving to. And I was a caretaker for my dad before he passed and as he was passing, and really have stepped in with my mom. And my in-laws, I take care of them quite a bit. And now my daughter's older. She's fixing to be in junior high school, and I realize that the focus of my life is changing again. I'm 41, and I realize that I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to spend my time around kids, and I wanted to continue to measure my life not in my own successes, but I wanted to measure the success of my life in the successes of others. I want to be there for the kindergartners and first and second graders as they're just getting their start in education and they're just learning to learn, which is why I've gone back to school and I'm learning to learn again. And I'm really feeling like my life's kind of come full circle. I I focused on me in the beginning of my life until my 20s. In my 30s, I learned to focus on other people. And I think now in my 40s, I'm combining the two. I'm learning that it's okay to focus on myself as I focus on other people, and that my happiness is going to come from seeing their success. So I look forward to the class, and I hope this has been enough of an introduction. The last thing I wanted to leave you with was my last object, which is a book called Dress Codes in School, which was the first full-length research paper I had to write for my class, So You Want to Be a Teacher, which I think might be to discourage people, but it actually worked to confirm that this is what I would like to do. I had a really good time with that research paper, and it really gave me the confidence to keep going, that it may be a lot of hard work, and I may be putting in more time than I expected, but that this little bit of success for me in school and relearning to learn is going to end up being a successful way for me to finish out my career over the next, hopefully, 20, 25 years. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.